Hey everyone, welcome back into CIO Insight. I'm Maggie Ruley here on the Pulse Network, joined by Eric Lundquist. And Eric, you know, September is just around the corner, and that means that hundreds of thousands of students will be headed back to school, which is probably great for many parents out there that are happy to see their children leave the homes. But we need to call in the experts. We need to know what to get to go back to school and what it means for universities and schools that have to deal with this influx of students. So we're going to welcome on the program Kevin Baradet, the CTO at the Cornell School of Business. Kevin, how's it going?
Good afternoon.
We get that title right, Kevin? It's CTO. Are you still CTO up at the Cornell School of Business?
We've changed our name again. It's now Johnson at Cornell.
Right. Okay. See, it's hard to keep track of these schools. They're always changing, Maggie.
Branding.
Well, Kevin, something that doesn't change is the fact that you have thousands of students that come back to you every single September. You know, Eric and I were just talking during break about buying new laptops and the excitement of going back to school, starting off that semester with all your new gadgets. So from our consumer perspective, this is a great time of year.
Right.
But then, you know, enter Kevin, CTO over at Cornell. We bring all of our viruses with you to your computer networks, don't we?
Yes, you do. Unfortunately, it is, we can't control what the students bring in. We do have some network control that watches for, you know, virus and compromised machines, but we don't own the machines. We don't control them. They belong to the students. And as a matter of fact, on Friday, we have almost 4,000 new incoming freshmen moving into the dorms, and at the business school, our incoming class has already started. So the last week we've been working through getting their laptops set up, getting their BlackBerries and iPhones configured to work on our email system. So it is a busy time of the year for us. We have folks coming from all over the world. They don't always have English language versions of the operating systems. So it makes it a little tough for us to get them set up and functional.
You know, Kevin, I was. There's been so much talk about, you know, in the general business world about the prosumer, where, you know, employees are going to decide which device they're going to bring in. You know, whether it's their Android phone or their iPhone or their, you know, which tablet they're going to have. And there's a, you know, on the CIO community, there's, oh, should we try to restrict things, not restrict things? It strikes me that it's folks like you who are really in the leading edge on this, because you pretty much have to deal with whatever a student brings, right? You can't say you can use this or cannot use that.
That is correct. As a matter of fact, the very first Chromebook just walked in the door this morning and wanted to know how to access our secure wireless LAN on campus, and we need to do a little bit of research because we've never set a Chromebook up. We have processes and procedures in place for setting up iPhones and iPads and Macs and Windows and Linux, but we haven't done a Chromebook yet. So we couldn't immediately answer the student's question other than they can use the public unsecured network.
Right. You can't say no, get rid of that Chromebook and go buy, I don't know, you know, a Windows machine. But
no,
you can't do that. How long does it take for you to sort of, you know, look at this new piece of equipment and say, okay, here's what we'll need to do to get it maybe off of the public network and onto the private network? How do you do that process?
Well, the first couple are tough until we get a way of doing it and write up some instructions. So that's what we'll be doing for the Chromebook shortly. For iPads and so on, all the iDevices, they just browse to a website, it downloads a preference file, they accept it, and it sets them up for that secure LAN. We have something similar for Windows side, and we haven't configured any Linux student machines, so I couldn't tell you how that works, but it's probably similar that there's documentation available.
So, you know, how about some advice for CIOs out there who, you know, maybe working at a private company, they say, okay, I can see this whole wave of prosumer coming at me where it's going to be all sorts of different devices. What are some of the steps I should be thinking about to be able to accommodate all these types of systems coming into the network?
Well, if you have an idea of what's going to be coming in the door, it would certainly be helpful to buy some sample machines, for your staff to experience what the user is going to be dealing with, and as much as possible prepare documentation ahead of time and publish it on your internal website or portal so it's easily found and referred to. And for some devices, you're going to have a list saying this is what we officially support and we have the resources to do so. And if you have a problem, we'll help you out as long as you conform to the company's policies and procedures for data handling and data encryption and so on. If you decide to purchase or use a device that's not on our list, you're responsible for what happens, and then we can only give you a limited amount of support.
So all this stuff hitting your servers, not every student. I know, Maggie, I know you were always very careful about making sure you had the latest
It never broke
antivirus.
the law.
You would
Yes,
never
of
share
course.
music or
Never.
download
Oh,
files.
no.
We know you're just as honest as the day is long. But some students aren't, Kevin. And they all come in with these sort of virus-infected machines. They want to go and download music, push files around. How do you deal with something like that hitting all your servers and everything else at the same time?
Well, we have networks that are protected so that they're not accessible from the public wireless network and from non-business networks on the campus. I would strongly recommend the incoming student invest in some sort of a backup, whether it's an online service, a cloud-based backup service, or a external hard drive to regularly back their documents up. Because when we see a machine, typically they're so infected that the most reasonable way of dealing with it is just to reformat the hard drive, reinstall the operating system, and then bring the files back. And if you don't have a backup of your important documents, you're going to really be stuck. And also, we've seen more than a few students who have had drive failures and have lost significant amounts of work, usually the evening before a paper or an exam, and are in really bad shape. So some sort of backup, whether it's a local external hard drive or one of the many cloud services that are out there.
So come on, Kevin, tell us, are you a Mac guy or a Windows guy these days? What's your favorite device?
I don't have a favorite. We have to. I use the best tool for the job. Right now, you are seeing me on my iPad 2.
Okay.
So I'm using my iPad 2 because my Windows laptop doesn't have a video camera built into it, and I couldn't find one quick enough to get set up. I have virtual machines running that have different types of Linux in them, so we can be familiar with that. So I'm kind of agnostic.
So Maggie, I think that iPad's looking pretty good, right?
I think we're going to need one for CIO Insight pretty soon.
We totally need them.
Well, Kevin, thank you so much.
Through our wireless network also, so.
Yeah.
The job never ends, does it? Students keep on coming. Kevin, thank you so much for coming on the program. It's very interesting to see the other perspective, being a recent college grad myself. So thanks, Kevin.
You're very welcome. Have a good afternoon.
You too.
Bye-bye.
I never realized how much work it really was.
When you're causing all that work.
I know.
Maggie,
So Kevin, you know what? My apologies to Kevin and everyone that helped me with my IT issues, but I'm sure you're doing a great job.
Sometimes they're helping you and you don't even know that they're helping you.
Very true.
That's the mystery.
All right, Eric, we do have plenty more CIO Insight lined up, straight from back to school on to mobile app development. That's what's up next right here on CIO Insight.
The Pulse Network. It's social TV.